Well, I'm really excited to have all of you here. This is great, and I'm excited to have people from so many different areas. That's so much fun for me. I grew up in the Air Force, so I grew up all over the place. So it's fun to be able to have people from different parts of the country. And so for those of you that do not really care for writing, I hope that you're going to find out that even if you just don't love writing, that you'll still be able to do it and enjoy it. And for those of you that do like to write, I hope that you will end the year feeling like you know more about what you're doing when it comes to writing. I just had a very exciting conversation with one of my writing moms yesterday. Her daughter just finished the 3rd level back in May, and she, hold on a second. Okay, and she is going to college now and doing her college English, although I don't think she's graduated from high school yet. And she's been getting 100s on all of her writing stuff so far. So IEW, the Institute for Excellence in Writing, which is what I teach, is a very usable method of learning to write. And who in here has done IEW before? Okay, we have a few. Great. And so for those of you who have done IEW before, you're probably going to find that some of the things that I tell you are different than the way your teacher told you in another class. And so you are going to learn to do it my way, all right? Every writing teacher has their own way of going about doing things. And so some of the things that I tell you may be different from the way you learned it from somebody else. That's okay. You just forget about what other teachers said and you do it my way. Because all of us writing teachers think we all know the best way to do everything, okay? And so if you have done IEW before, you've already got a lot of skills and a lot of things are going to be very familiar to you. Some things may be different, so I want you to learn to do it the way I say. Then when you go to another teacher, guess what? You will do it how that teacher says, all right? Don't ever tell a writing teacher, that's not the way Mrs. So-and-so told me to do it, because nobody likes that, okay? For those of you who haven't done IEW before, you're really in for a exciting time of learning a better way of doing writing. It's wonderful. So let's go ahead and first of all, thank you for everybody getting signed up on ThinkWave. ThinkWave is going to be really important in our classes. I will send messages through ThinkWave and also forms that you need for the writing class will be posted on ThinkWave. And so that's where I'll also put your grades and comments and repost your papers after I grade them. You'll be turning in your homework on ThinkWave, and then I will grade the papers and I'll repost them with the graded comments back on ThinkWave. So ThinkWave is really important and you should get used to checking it a lot, and it should be one of your best friends this school year, okay? I think Aaron, I think y'all have used ThinkWave before, is that right? Yeah, so you already know how to do it. We'll be talking more about that in a few minutes. So the first thing that we need to talk about with IEW is keyword outlining. Now, keyword outlining is a way that we can learn to write without having to use the original source. Who can tell us what plagiarism is? Okay, Aiden, what's plagiarism?
Plagiarism is when you use a text from someone else's text without citing them or without their permission.
Yes, and plagiarism has always been a problem in school, but it's worse now because a lot of people think that copying and pasting stuff into a paper is writing, but it's not. And so the problem is once you read something, it's really hard to get away from the original source. I'll bet there's some people in this class who have kind of photographic memory for words. Is there anybody in the class that has that issue? So you read something and then the way it's written, it just sticks in your head, right? That's actually a handicap when it comes to writing. It's great for math and science, but when it comes to writing, it can be a real problem because it's hard to get away from those original words. So the great thing about keyword outlining is it helps you to get away from the original wording so you can say things like you would say it instead of like somebody else would say it, okay? All of you already have your own style. And by the time we get to the end of the school year, I'll probably be able to tell who wrote something just by the style, and you will have your own unique style. A unique style never happens when people are using the source to write. So now if I were to, we go through the class and y'all can turn your mics on now because I want people contributing to this. If we were to have this whole class and then your mom were to ask you what I said, would you use all the exact same words that I used to tell your mom what I said?
No, you use your own words.
Right. You sort of take in the information and then you give it back out, right? With your own way of saying things, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's really normal and natural, and that's naturally the way people talk. And so it's normal when you say things to say it with your own way of talking. It's exactly the same thing in writing. All writing is communicating your speech on paper, except we want to do nice things to help it read better. And so we're going to be learning some of those ways to make it read better. That's called style. And style is really important in writing because when you're talking to somebody, you can see their facial expressions, you can hear their tone of voice, you can see their gestures, and all that's called body language, right? But when we write, we lose all of the body language. So all of that body language has to be put into the words that we use and how we arrange those words, and that's called style, all right? So before we can get to that, though, we have to actually be able to get stuff down on paper and have it be us, not from the original source. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so let's look at page 26 and let's talk about keyword outlining. All of the papers that we write this year, or paragraphs, at first we're not going to be doing actual reports and essays. We're going to be doing individual paragraphs.
So what the video you posted on your YouTube channel? That?
Pardon me?
The video that you told us to read, look at in the book before we did that.
Yeah, and that's how you're going to arrange your papers for the, are you talking about the MLA?
Yeah.
Yes. And we'll talk about that too. MLA is the way people do it, and English papers are put together in high school and college. I don't know. Some of you have probably already had experience with MLA. Who in here has actually done MLA before? Okay. Anyway, it's how you're expected to arrange your work. And I used to not bother with all that because I thought, that's not really writing, that's just stuff. But then I sent off my first batch of kids to college and they didn't know how to do it, and they were not happy with me. Oh, thank you, Erin. So let's look at page 26. So let's talk about keyword outlining. Every single paper that we start, every single paragraph that we write will begin with a keyword outline this year, okay? And again, oh, wait a minute. It's not page 26. That's the It's page 22. So the great thing about keyword outlining is that it helps you get away from the original source so you can sound original yourself. It's hard to sound original when you're looking at a source right in front of you. And I've got kids in college that have gone off and are still doing their keyword outlining. It's great. Keyword outlining is great for taking notes in a lecture. It's great for taking notes and using them for a speech. You can take notes in your chemistry class, text from your chemistry class textbook, which I made my son do one year. I made him keyword outline entire chapters, like for the whole year. So he was really mad. But it's a great way of taking notes so you can get away from the original source. All right, so let's look at this page 22 and let's just go through the basic rules for keyword outlining, and then we're going to practice keyword outlining. Okay? All right. Is everybody with me on page 22?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay, so number one, when we first start doing this, it's going to be a little bit different. The way we get our keywords will change as we go through the year, but to start with, we're going to be just doing individual paragraphs. So the first thing you want to do is you want to read through the paragraph completely before you start keyword outlining. All right? And for now, the paragraph topic is going to be Roman numeral 1 on your outline. And your outline should be double spaced when you're handwriting them because you're going to want to be able to go back and change things if you need to. So for each sentence and fact, right now it's sentence by sentence, you're going to pick out the 3 words that you think are the most important that are going to help you remember what that sentence was about, what that fact was about. Just 3 words. So sentence number 1 is going to be number 1 on your outline. Sentence number 2 is going to be number 2 on your outline, etc. Now, even though you can only use 3 words per sentence right now, numbers, symbols, and abbreviations are free. They don't count against your 3 key words, okay? Now, it's a good thing to use standard abbreviations because if you use some kind of crazy thing that you aren't going to recognize later, that's not going to really help you very much. So we want to use standard abbreviations and symbols, and I've given you a list. One great thing about this handbook is that it is full of lists. I call this a writer's toolbox. If you look on page 61 in your handbook, just hold your place there on page 22 and look at page 61. All right. Has anybody in here seen Moneyball? It's a baseball movie. No? Michael Lewis has written a lot of nonfiction stories and books that are very interesting. So I love quotes, and so here's a great one from Michael Lewis. The most common pleasant thing people say to me about my writing is that it looks effortless. It is the opposite of effortless. I probably do 20 drafts of each chapter. So I write something over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day. My writing process is sweaty and inelegant. Writing is hard work, y'all. Hard writing makes easy reading. Easy writing makes hard reading. Okay? So flip one page over to page 63. And I've given you a whole bunch of outlining abbreviations. So these are by no means all there are, but this is a bunch to get you started. I really love math symbols and keyword outlines. They're so useful. Arrows are very useful. And then there are just normal abbreviations for words that are used frequently. So these are some possibilities for you. Now, one thing you can't do when you're doing abbreviations on keyword outlines, and I've had students try to get around the 3-word limit by doing this. They like write out almost an entire word and then leave off the last 2 or 3 letters and put a period. No, that doesn't count. So look back on page 22. So on number 5, for each fact, list 3 keywords and any number, symbols, and abbreviations, but don't try to reproduce an entire sentence. You want to be brief. So say you did get down every single word in a sentence on your keyword outline using your 3 words and number, symbols, and abbreviations. When you went back to write that sentence in your own composition, if you write down every single thing exactly like it was in the original, what's it going to sound like when you go and rewrite it?
Plagiarism.
Exactly. It's going to sound exactly like the original, and that's what we don't want to do, right? Okay. Did we lose somebody? I think we did. I think we lost the Sewers. Did we lose the Sewers?
We lost the 2 people who were together on
Yeah,
Zoom.
yeah, we did. They must be having connection problems. Okay. So you can use synonyms even in your keyword outline. The sooner you can get away from what the original says, the better. So sometimes a synonym can stand in the place of 2 or 3 words, okay? So if you look down at this little keyword outline down at the very bottom of the page, this is what a keyword outline might look like, okay? You've noticed there's some symbols there. There's words that are separated by commas. If you counted the sentences in that little paragraph there would be 6 sentences. And then the topic of the paragraph is Roman numeral 1, which is do not worry. Now, I know all about classical outlines, and I know this is not the way you probably learned to do it in school, because normally you would have a Roman numeral, and then you'd have A, B, C, and then you'd have 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the way we're going to be doing it. This is different, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is practice doing a keyword outline. So if you'll turn to page 89 in your handbook, and the first thing we're going to do is read all the way through it. You want to familiarize yourself with materials, and even when you're reading or writing a whole paper, you all have received these. We'll be using these later on, and these sticky tabs are great because they allow you to read and just mark things without having to write stuff down. So reading through what you have available ahead of time is one of the best things to do. We're not using them right now because right now we're just doing paragraphs. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is read through it. So the sea wasp. The sea wasp is the most venomous member of the jellyfish family. Its poisoning ability is many times greater than any snake. In its search for food, such as small bottom-dwelling shrimp, sea wasps often move very close to shore and to beach swimmers. It is so deadly that bathers stung by the sea wasp have died in the few seconds it takes them to stagger back to shore. It is almost completely transparent and can be difficult to see. Not found in the oceans near America or Europe, it is considered the scourge of Australia's beaches. This small blob of powerful neurotoxin could likely kill over 50 people. The sea wasp has been called the deadliest creature alive. Dum, dum, dum. Okay, so I'm going to do a screen share here, and we're going to actually make out a keyword outline. And you can write this in your book, then you'll have it to refer back to later. All right. So the first thing we need to do is decide what the topic of this keyword outline is going to be. So what's a good possibility for that to go next to Roman numeral 1?
Sea wasp.
Exactly. Okay, let's see. Why is this not working? Hold on a minute. All right, let me open my graphic tablet toolbar and see if I've got something going on here. Let me try that again. There we go. All right, so CWASP is obviously the topic of this paragraph, right? So write CWASP there. Now, the first thing we want to do is read sentence number 1, and we're going to decide on 3 words that help us remember what this sentence is about. Okay, the sea wasp is the most venomous member of the jellyfish family. Right, now there's 2 words in here we definitely don't need to use because we already know this. What would that be?
Venomous and sea wasp.
Sea wasp.
We only get 3 words, and we already know that this whole thing is about sea wasp, so let's don't waste 2 words on that. So what are 3 other really important words in the sentence that will help us remember what the...
Most venom on jellyfish.
Okay. Most, that's great. Okay, so we're going to do most venomous jellyfish. Okay, great. That's supposed to be an M there. There we go. All right. Its poisoning ability is many times greater than any snake. All right, I see at least 1 opportunity for a math symbol there. What do you think?
Poisonous ability.
Right. And what's a good math symbol?
The greater than symbol, snake.
Okay. So poisonous. I think I'm going to do a up arrow here. More poisonous. Well, here's 2 different ways you can do it. More poisonous than snake. Or you could do it like this. Poisoning greater than any snake. So whichever one you like the best. Let's see. Okay. I think. All right. Matthew and Amelia, are y'all back again? I can't see everybody at once. Okay. All right. We're on page 89 and we're working on the CWASP keyword outline. Okay. And the important thing about keyword outlining is you can only use 3 words per sentence and per outline point. And you can use symbols, numbers, and abbreviations. Now, these are 2 different choices, you guys, so pick one or the other. Don't use both, okay? More poisonous than snake or poisoning greater than any snake. Either one of those would do, whichever one you like the best. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy, you could look up the name of the most poisonous snake, and you could put that in instead of any snake. And I forget what it is. It's something like Taipei something or another. I can't remember what it is right this minute. So one or the other of these. I think I'm going to use this one. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. Now this is a very long sentence, so it's going to require some thinking here in order to get it down in 3 words, numbers, symbols, and abbreviations. Okay, here we go. In its search for food, such as small bottom-dwelling shrimp, sea wasps often move very close to shore and to beach swimmers. Now we are not getting that down in 3 words. So what's the... Then we have to ask ourselves, this is one thing that's great about keyword outlining. It makes you think about what you're reading. That's why it's so great for chemistry and hard subjects like that. So what's the sentence actually telling us? what do we find out in this sentence? What's the main idea?
That it gets close to shore.
Okay, why do they get close to shore?
Because their food dwells like in that area.
Okay, so they are looking for food, and the food that their search brings them close to shore. Okay, so like I said, sometimes a simple synonym or a simple symbol can help you get rid of a bunch of words and help you remember this. I had a student that came up with this a long time ago for this sentence. What's that?
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yes. So you can see how a very simple symbol can often take the place of a bunch of words. So we're going to use a Pac-Man symbol here. And this should help us remember, because it's quite memorable, that the sea wasp is searching for food. Now, if you happen to remember when you're writing your paragraph that they like small bottom-dwelling shrimp, okay, but that's not really the point of the sentence, right? It's not about the diet of the sea wasp. It's really about habits of the sea wasp, right?
What page are the abbreviations on again?
Let's see. Let me find them.
Thanks.
63. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got the Pac-Man here. We can remember that the sea wasp is looking for food, so now we can use our 3 words to say whatever is most important about looking for food. So what's something we could use here?
Often very close to shore.
Okay, so pick 3 words that are going to help us remember.
You do close to shore and swimmer.
Yeah, that.
Okay, how about this? Close to shore and swimmers. If you went back to write this about this in a paragraph, do you think that you would remember what that?
Can we just write it on the side of the keyword outline?
Yeah, we've got a place there on page 89. You can be writing it in on that outline that I gave you on page 89. Everybody see that? You can just be writing yours in the book. Okay, does everybody have something down for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, there's never just one right way to make a keyword outline. All right, there's so many possibilities. All right, it is so deadly that bathers stung by the sea wasp have died in the few seconds it takes them to stagger back to shore. Now, bathers in this sentence is just another word for what?
Swimmers.
Swimmers, okay. I really love that word stagger. That's a really strong word. And so if I really liked a word that somebody had used in their writing, would it be okay for me to use that word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great way to pick up new vocabulary. You just don't want, pick out 1 or 2 great words when you read and intentionally use them yourself, but don't be picking out all the same words. See what I mean? Okay, so what's the main point of this sentence? This is a very poetic sounding sentence. Bather, stagger. But what do we find out in this sentence?
The swimmers die within a few seconds of being stung.
Okay. So another word for within a few seconds of being stung could be?
To SND.
Swimmers die quickly.
Yes, great. Or you could say almost immediately. Okay, victims. How about we use the word victims? Victims die. That way we'll remember these are people that obviously have had an unfortunate encounter. In fact, I like this word for unfortunate encounter. And I might write that if I went back to make a paragraph, okay?
Ma'am?
Things die immediately.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Instead of die, could you make a face with instead of eyes, X's as a symbol?
Like this?
Yeah.
Then you can use another word.
Use another word.
Yes, yes, you could. The only drawback is if you know that, see, I know this Pac-Man symbol because I just, I know it. What you don't want to do for symbols is something like, because then when you go back to write it, you'll go, what on earth? All right. So as long as it's a symbol that you personally are going to recognize, yes, you may do that. That is perfectly fine. I will give you a word of caution though. I heard a lot of you say you like to draw. Don't get pulled into the trap of making beautiful pictures, because one of the things you want to learn to do with keyword outlining is to be fast. All right? You want to be fast getting your keyword outline done so that you can get your writing done, right? So don't fall into the trap of doing very intricate pictures and then the next thing you know, you've wasted 30 minutes. All right?
Be brief.
Be brief. That's right. So stick with really simple symbols like this or like the Pac-Man. And see, that's not a problem for me because I'm not an artist. So I would never fall into that trap. But I know that for some of you, that could be an issue. All right? Okay. So good point there. Who was that said that? Was that Aiden that came up with that idea?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that is excellent. You could put that in place of die and that would work fine. And again, this is not the only way we could say this. You could have done a stick symbol and put the word stung. Stick man, stung, die immediately. That would work. Lots of things would work. All right. It's almost completely transparent and can be difficult to see. All right. So what do we find out in this sentence?
Difficult to see.
Hard to see, man.
Yeah, that.
Okay. So what's another word we could use for transparent, just to get away from the original?
Clear.
Teacher.
Yeah. Okay. And I love the not symbol. The not symbol is fantastic for so many things. And I think I can get away with just not see. I think I would remember that, but that's just me. If you wouldn't remember what that means, then you could always use the word. So you're not always going to need three words, okay? If it's just a very simple fact. Not found in the oceans near America or Europe, it is considered the scourge of Australia's beaches. I love that word scourge. It's a very strong word. But the main point that we learned in this sentence is a very happy fact. And what is the fact?
That is not found in America or Europe.
Yes. And unfortunately that it is
Native to Australia.
in Australia, right. So I would be very happy about this because we have 110 miles of beautiful beach in Georgia, and I would never go to the beach if we had to worry about the sea wasp. So I would do this for this fact. Only in Australia. Happy face.
Did you use like AUS for like Australia and then add another word like and use AUS as not a full word?
As long as you know that that's an abbreviation for Australia, for all I know it is, I just don't know, and it might not mean anything to me if I looked at that.
Okay.
You could even do like this. You still only use two words, not US. Okay. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah, so whenever we're doing the keyword outlining, do we just use 8? Like we do, like.
Right now, it's however many sentences are in the paragraph, because when we first start this out, we're just going to be doing individual paragraphs. Okay. That later on, when we start doing reports and we're taking multiple notes from multiple sources, we'll be doing it a different way. Okay.
Okay.
So for this particular one, there are 8 sentences, so we got 8 points on our outline, okay?
Thank you.
Good question. All right, this small blob of powerful neurotoxin could likely kill over 50 people. Now, we've talked about this over the years in class, and I think he's poetically calling the sea wasp a small blob of powerful neurotoxin. Y'all know what a neurotoxin is?
A bad toxin.
It paralyzes your nervous system. Horrible. This is why people die almost instantly. It's because it paralyzes your autonomic nervous system and you stop breathing because all of that's autonomic control, and your heart stops beating, and then you die, right? So I like that word neurotoxin because it's an expensive sounding word and it sounds really smart. So I'm going to definitely use that word. And so I think for this, what do you think we could put down if we wanted to use that?
Law, power of how, well, wait.
Now, we don't have to have small blob before that.
I have an
Kind of
idea.
mighty.
I
Huh?
have an idea.
Okay.
Neurotoxin,
Uh-huh.
kill, and then the over sign and the PPL, people.
Okay. Neurotoxin. Maybe, let's see. How many words is that?
That's
Let me see.
I did like neurotoxin and then a drawing of a can and then a dead person and then an arrow pointing up 50 people. And I was like,
Okay. Let's see. Was that, let's see. I'm trying to, Sophie. I'm going to do enough here first, right? Enough neurotoxin. And what was the rest of it?
Kill, and then we could do the
PPL.
50 number and then PPL for people.
Okay. What about greater than 50 stick men? How about that?
That's what I put.
Okay.
You could also do neurotoxin, dead face, then up arrow, 50 people.
Oh, yes, you could. Yes, you could. Yeah. Instead of kill, you could use the dead face. Is there supposed to be a mouth when you do that? I can't remember.
Huh?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Are you supposed to put a mouth on the dead face, or is it just the X's on the eyes?
I don't think it matters.
Okay. All right. Anything that's going to help you, as long as you don't go over the 3-word limit. Again, a lot of people want to try to get around that 3-word limit. But when you do, all you're doing is setting yourself up for sounding like the original, right? Sometimes people will even take a long sentence and they'll start breaking it into however many points they need to get all the words down on the paper. You can't do that either. You only get 1 point for each sentence. So you've got to think about what the most important part of the sentence is. There's some long sentences in this, but you don't have to have every single little bit of it. You just need the main point of the sentence, right? Okay, now here's the last one. The sea wasp has been called the deadliest creature alive. Now, what's the most likely group of words that we would put down?
Deadliest creature alive.
Deadliest creature alive with the emoji of it.
If you do that, I mean, you could, you're not breaking any rules, but what do you think might happen if you put down those exact 3 words there?
That would be copyright or whatever it's
Sounds
called.
like plagiarism.
Yeah,
Well, I tell you what happens. Your brain gets poisoned, and then when you go back and you look at your keyword outline, you find it's like set in concrete in your brain, all right? So let's think of some other words. What's another word for deadliest?
Most dangerous.
Okay.
Most lethal.
Okay, we could do dangerous, we could do lethal. Any other options? This is good. This is brainstorming. Brainstorming words is great. Okay, so I think lethal, and I love arrows. They're so helpful. Most lethal. All right, what about creature?
Animal.
animal or sea when
Okay,
Being.
animal. What was the other one?
Being.
okay? And alive. Do we need to do that? Obviously, if it's not alive, it wouldn't be a problem. So, what about
a needle?
huh?
A creature and like a tentacle, whatever.
Living.
Oh, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Most lethal animal on Earth. I mean, I don't need the word on there. Notice how we haven't used any little tiddlywink kind of words on this, right? I mean, we don't need and, we don't need the, we don't need prepositions generally, right? All the words we've used are pretty powerful words. I could have left this in out of there, but since I had extra words, that was okay. So one year, one of my students came up with this for number 8. I thought that was pretty good. Okay, so after we get through making our keyword outline, then we need to test it and see if we can make a paragraph from our keyword outline, right? Because if you go back and you look at your keyword outline and you don't know what it meant, is that going to be very useful?
Nope.
No. So what you're going to be doing for your homework this time is you're going to be doing a lot of keyword outlines, and then you're going to go to your editor, and your editor is going to review your keyword outline, and then you're going to give your editor an oral report using your keyword outline. Okay? That's the homework assignment. You're only going to write the last 2 up as paragraphs. All right. So we're going to try this out. We're going to read our keyword outline and see if we can remember what it means. Okay? So I'm going to go first, and I'd like for people to chime in as we go down the list.
Miss Jennifer?
Yes.
So the homework, just to go over it so I don't forget, is go to the editor and go over keyword outline and do the writing on the editor.
Yeah, I've got a very specific assignment sheet, and we'll go over that in a few minutes, okay? But yes, that's basically what you're going to be doing this time. All right. So I'm going to start first, and then I'm going to let people just take turns saying another sentence. If you can say sentences using your keyword outline, writing it is just a formality, right? Now, one of the most important things about checking your keyword outline is to put the original away. So look at this. Unfortunately, you've got your outline and the paragraph on the same page. You won't have that problem when you're doing your homework because you'll be writing your keyword outlines in your composition notebook. But for right now, while we're doing this, don't look at the original.
Just put paper over it.
That's a good idea, because what happens if you're looking at the original?
You're going to think the original.
Right, and that's what we don't want to do, right? We really want to get away from the original. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one, and then if somebody else would like to redo the first one, because we've got 16 people here, and we've only got 8 sentences, so I'd love to have at least 2 options for every sentence, okay? So everybody has a chance to contribute. All right. The most venomous jellyfish in Earth's oceans is the notorious sea wasp. Now, obviously, mine's very different because I have the word notorious, which is a great word. I love words. All right. Somebody else give us another option for number 1. Okay, Chase. Now I can't see everybody at once. Let me see. Maybe I can fix this so I can see everybody. Hold on a minute. I'm going to try to move this. Well, rats. Yeah, that's the only problem with screen share is I can't see everybody while we're doing this. Okay, Chase, go ahead and give us another option.
Most lethal jellyfish.
Okay, give us a whole complete sentence. Like if you were getting up and giving a speech to someone, say it like you were giving a speech.
The sea wasp is the most lethal jellyfish in the world.
Oh, super. That's great. Oh, there we go. Let me move it over. Now I think I will be able to fix it so I can see all of you. All right. So that's great. The sea wasp is the most lethal jellyfish in the world. I still can't see everybody at one time, but that's better. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Who can do number 2 for us?
Again.
Hey, Aiden, go ahead.
Great. The sea wasp is more poisonous than any snake.
Super. And I heard somebody else volunteering. Julia.
The sea wasp's venom is stronger than that of any snake.
Super. Okay. Did I hear a third person that volunteered?
You did, but they covered mine.
Okay. All right. So who wants to do number 3, the Pac-Man sentence? Okay, Christian.
It eats very close to the shore and to swimmers. I think I remembered eats shrimp.
Okay. Super. And somebody else?
Made it.
Yes.
The sea wasp hunts very close to the shore and is a threat to swimmers.
Ooh, threat. I like that word. Okay.
I
Number.
got one.
Okay.
The sea wasp feeds close to shore, therefore endangering swimmers.
Super. Therefore. Yeah, I like that word. That's great. All right. Number 4. Now you can do, yours can be fancier than this. This is obviously not a very in-depth kind of notation I did here. Who can do, okay, Yusuf?
The venom kills victims very quickly.
Super. Another volunteer, Aiden.
After victims get stung, they die almost immediately.
Super. Any other people? Let's see. I can't see everybody at once, so I don't know if anybody's holding their hand up. All right. Okay. Great. Number 5. Roman.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Wait a minute. Now it says Roman raising. Okay, Chase, was that you raising your hand there? Okay.
Yeah, but then I forgot.
Okay, somebody else. Yusuf.
The sea wasp is virtually transparent, thus it's hard to see.
Ooh, thus, virtually, an ly adverb. Awesome. Okay, Aiden.
The sea wasp is clear, and that's what makes it so much more dangerous.
Oh, very different. Yes, that's the idea. And it's more likely to happen when you're not looking at you see how that helps when you're not looking at the original. Okay, any other volunteers?
I got one.
Okay.
The sea wasp is clear, therefore making it more dangerous because you can't see it.
Okay, super. All right, who wants to do the fun one?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Well, number 6, right? Who's doing it?
Number 6, yes.
Thankfully, the sea wasp is only near Australia, so we are not in danger if you live in the USA, something like that.
That's awesome. Okay, Aiden.
Lucky for most people in the world, the sea wasp lives in Australia. So sorry, Australians.
Great, Yusuf.
The sea wasp is native to Australia and cannot be found anywhere else.
Thank goodness. Chase.
Never go to Australia because you could probably die.
Okay, anybody else? Let's see. I can't see everyone, so just You might have to tell me if you want. Okay, Mia.
Not uncommonly. They're in Australia. That's not unusual because everything in Australia is out to kill you.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Let's see. I think it was Aiden and Yusuf's mother when we were doing this in the parents meeting who said she wanted to know if you could put like two facts together. And yes, that's absolutely fine. And when you're writing your paper, unless it needs to be in a certain chronological order, you are certainly able to move facts around inside the paragraph however you like. But Aiden and Yusuf's mom said, there is good news and bad news about the sea wasp. Unfortunately, victims die when they're stung almost immediately. However, thankfully, they are only found in Australia or something like that. So that was a great way to kind of shake things up a little bit. All right, let's see. Who wants to do the fancy neurotoxin one? Chase.
It has enough toxin to kill a whole bus filled of people.
Oh, I love that. Awesome.
Question is it a double-decker bus?
Probably.
Aiden.
This sea predator has enough neurotoxin to kill over 50 people.
Oh, I love that. Predator. That's awesome. Let's see, Julia.
This venom-packed jellyfish is lethal enough to kill up to 50 people.
Venom-packed? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. Did I see any other hands? Let's see. I'm switching around so I can see. Okay. Any other volunteers for this one? I think it has an endless variety of things that could be said about it, I'm supposing. The creepy neurotoxin, which paralyzes the autonomic nervous system, contained in one sea wasp, could likely kill, I don't want to use the word likely, they already used that, could conceivably kill over 50 people.
Most definitely kill 50 people.
Yes, there you go. Okay, now and then the last one, which I can't see on my page right now because I've got it.
Most lethal animal on Earth.
Okay, so do like a complete sentence.
Most lethal predator in the world.
Okay, but you're missing the subject of the sentence. What's the most lethal?
Huh?
What's the most lethal predator in the world?
Sea wasp.
Okay, now say the whole thing.
The most lethal sea wasp in the world.
You mean the sea wasp is the most lethal
Yes.
predator in the world?
Sea
Okay.
wasp is the most lethal predator in the world.
Okay. Aiden.
So welcome the most lethal animal on Earth, the sea wasp.
I love that. Sophie.
This neurotoxin-packed animal is the most lethal one on a planet.
Super. Roman, did you raise your hand or do I need to?
I did.
Okay.
May I use the restroom?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Do one more. Let's see, Jack, I don't believe we've heard from you. Why don't you give it a try?
All right, let me see here. I wrote it down here.
Okay.
The sea wasp is considered the most lethal animal alive.
Super. Let's see, Emily, have you tried one yet? You did try one? Okay. Who hasn't spoken yet? Josie? Can you give us a sentence, Josie?
Wasp is the most lethal animal in the world.
Super. Okay. Now, has everybody had a chance to say something?
Matthew hasn't.
Matthew. Okay, Matthew. That's what a sister will do for you, isn't it?
Let's see here. Sea wasp is considered today the most dangerous animal on the planet.
Super. Okay. All right, y'all. So, see, kind of fun and easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if you have something interesting to write about. So this is what I want to do. First of all, I want to stop share. Let's see. All right, does everybody have that written down in their handbook now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because I want you to be able to refer back to it if you need to. Okay, so there you all are. What I want you to do now is to practice doing one of these. So look on page 90, just flip one page over to page 90 and 91. And there's some very small paragraphs here. Even though they're short, they're short sentences, but there are kind of a lot of sentences in some of these.
Holy crap.
I want you to pick one of these. We've got 15 minutes left, and I want you to go ahead and keyword outline one of these paragraphs. Use your composition notebook and just open to page 1, and I want you to put a Roman numeral 1, and whatever the title of the paragraph is, that will be next to your Roman numeral 1. Okay, so page 90 and page 91, just pick one that you think looks interesting. Page 90 or 91, pick one of those paragraphs, open up your composition notebook. Somebody hold up their composition notebook so everybody sees what I mean. There you go. Everybody should have one of those. Just open it up to the first page and write a Roman numeral 1 at the top of the first page, and then write the name of the paragraph. So for instance, which one did you pick, Aiden? Have you picked one yet?
Yeah.
What did you pick?
Sharks.
Okay, so put sharks next to Roman numeral 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then go ahead and start just writing down 1 through however many sentences there are, and start keyword outlining it like we just did, okay? If you need those symbols, they were on page 63.
I'm gonna go grab a pencil real quick.
Okay. I just want everybody to have a little bit of a chance to practice this before we break off for the end of class, because this is what you're going to be doing for homework, not these paragraphs. I'll show you the paragraphs in a few minutes. And this is a great time to ask questions. So if you're running into any kind of difficulty, then you're probably not the only one, and let me know.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you allowed to look up synonyms for some words?
You can, but remember that one of the main points of doing this is to be what? Quick, to be quick, because yes, but so if you want to look up a synonym, you can, but don't do that right now, because I really want y'all to get through with this so I can talk to you about your homework, okay? What you don't want to end up doing is taking a half an hour to make a 1-paragraph keyword outline, because then guess what? When your editor comes in and she goes, "What? Are you still working on that? It's time to do math." All right. So we want to learn to be quick so we can move on to the next part. But yes, using synonyms, especially if they just pop into your head, is great for keyword outlines. The sooner you can get away from the original wording, the better. Now, these sentences, you guys, are so simple that it's hard to be really different, probably. The ones you're going to be doing for your homework aren't quite this simple. I just want everybody to have a chance to really practice the skills. That's why we're using these for the practice to start with. Christian, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Wow, okay. Can I see your keyword outline? Just hold it up to the. Right, that looks good. Okay, now let's see. Number 8 looks kind of long. You don't I can't really tell what it says. You don't have more than 3 words, do you?
I finished as well, ma'am.
Okay. Y'all make sure you stick to the 3-word limit, except you can use number symbols and abbreviations. These are just going to be a little harder to be original because they're so easy. But okay, let's see. Who said they were done? Okay. Okay, Aiden, let's see. Good. That looks good. All right.
I'm done too.
Okay.
All right, I fixed mine.
Okay, that looks good. Now, some of those look kind of long, but you don't have more than 3 words.
No.
Symbols.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Okay, let's see. All right, that looks good. Let's see. Who else said they were done?
Let me just double check.
I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, y'all go back and double check and make sure that you don't have more than 3 words. And let's see, Josie, did you say you were done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I see yours? All right, good. And
We're done too.
okay, y'all do them one at a time.
We're supposed to hit share screen to make it bigger, right?
No, you can just hold it up to the camera. Okay, that looks good. Oh, I see a lot of symbols on that one. Okay, and that reminds me just to say, I can't really tell that much, but Amelia shows a good example of double spacing, and sometimes you have to go back and change things, so always give yourself room by double spacing. Okay, let's see, Roman. Hold it up a little bit higher. Okay, I can't really tell, Roman, but you don't have more than 3 words on any of those, right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Huh?
By double spacing, do you mean 1 space between things or 2 space between things?
1 blank space between each line of writing.
That's what I did.
That's what meant by double space. And you'll be doing that when you do your rough drafts also, and you'll be doing that when you do your final drafts. That is always to give your editor room to write on your rough drafts and to give me room to write on your final drafts, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Somebody else that needed to show me theirs? Emily, you can hold it up a little closer. Okay. Okay, no more than 3 words, right? Okay. Mia? Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see those words. All right, good. Matthew, did I see yours yet?
No.
You see it?
Yep, I see it. Good. Okay. And y'all, I'm not concerned about
I'm done.
Super. Let's see who's that. Okay, raise it up just a little bit. Yes, okay. Good. On rough drafts and final drafts, I'm not particular about how neat it is. Especially on rough drafts, you say sloppy copy. That's what a rough draft is, okay? I do expect rough drafts and final drafts to be different, and you need to be able to read it, and your editor needs to be able to read it, okay? But I'm not concerned with neatness, all right? As long as you can read it, and as long as your editor can read it, okay? Okay, Roman, let's stay focused here, okay? Okay, did I see everybody's outline? Okay. Yeah, I have kids in my different classes that become friends outside of class, and that's great. We just have to stay focused on class because an hour and a half, of course, we lost some time getting everybody settled this time, but that won't be a problem in the future. All right, let's look at our homework assignment. And your homework assignment, everybody should have read through your pre-class assignment, and there should be a tab on that page.
Okay.
Huh?
I did.
Good. So take the tab off of that page and stick it on the page next to it, page 197. And this is always a good practice to stick the tab on the page you're supposed to be working on. I had one student one year who kind of got mixed up, and they started.
What was it?
Huh?
What page was it?
197.
Okay, just making sure.
Right next to the one you already did. One year they started out on the right assignment page, and then at some point they kind of like got mixed up and they started doing the next assignment, and they were really upset because they didn't know what it was talking about because we hadn't done that yet in class. So it's always good to have it marked so that you don't get mixed up and start working on the wrong assignment. There will never be anything on the assignment that we haven't already talked about, okay? So if you look at your page on 197, is everybody on 197 with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You'll notice that it's listed day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way up to day 9. Day 1 is always the day after class. So you start on the assignment tomorrow.
I'm going out of town on tomorrow, so I can do it when I get there.
Okay, well, you work that out with your parents, okay? And then none of the days are for the weekend. Now, some families have decided that because they're like in a co-op on a certain day that they're going to make Saturday one of their writing days. You need to have a regular schedule of when you write. I don't want anybody sitting down and trying to do everything at once. I had a girl a couple of years ago. She just did terrible for the entire year. Her papers were a mess, and toward the end of the year, she told me that she had been doing all of her homework the day before. And I said, well, that explains why you haven't been doing well, because you can't do everything that needs to be done and do it well. The thing about working on writing is it needs to be done in small sections, and you need to come back and redo it the next day. We always have at least 2 drafts of everything. If you follow my schedule, you will learn to break things down into small steps, and your writing will be better. There's something magic that happens in the brain while you're sleeping after you've written something. When you come back to it, you see how to make it better. That never happens if you sit down and try to do everything all at once, okay? I know a number of y'all said you play instruments. You know how much of a disaster it is when you don't practice all week, and then the day before your lesson, you try to practice and try to learn everything. How well does that work?
Not well at all.
It's terrible. Same thing with sports. You can't just do your sports one day a week if you really want to be on the top tier, right? It's the same way with writing, the same way exactly. So even though this is a really short assignment, do it like I say, and try to do every day separate like I say, and that way your brain will get in the habit of doing your writing broken down into 9 to-do lists, okay? So if you look at this, it's going to tell you exactly what to do. The very first day, you reread the pages that we have been talking about, and your editor will read them too. We didn't go over the style things on pages 52 and 53. Don't worry about that. We'll start working on style, but you can read through pages 52 and 53. I think it will make sense to you. And then you're going to start writing your keyword outlines from the paragraphs that I give you on pages 148 is in the homework section. So each of these days between now and the next class, you'll be doing these keyword outlines. So tomorrow will be snowmobile. Thursday will be sea snakes. Friday will be hummingbirds. And then the Olympics will be 2 paragraphs, but it'll be on the same day. And not till you get to the end when you do Brave Dogs Save Lives and Shooting Stars, those will actually be written up as paragraphs. But the rest of them, you will just be doing oral reports. Flip over and look at the composition checklist on page 198. Page 198. Now these are on the composition checklists are also on ThinkWave, and you can print them out and use them if you want to, or you can use the one in your handbook. But you are going to be, this one will actually have to be, no, this one will have to be printed from online because your editor has to sign this one, and this one has to be turned back in. So you'll notice that it says oral report on snowmobile given to editor. So you do your keyword outline, your editor looks over the keyword outline, then you give your editor an oral report using your keyword outline, just like we did when we made up those sentences about the sea wasp. That's what I mean by a keyword outline, okay? I mean an oral report. So each of these are going to be given as oral reports to your editor. That is in order to check your keyword outline and make sure it works, okay? And the last 2 paragraphs, Brave Dogs and Shooting Stars, will be written up as actual paragraphs. And on those, you'll be actually using the MLA formatting and typing them up on Word. If you don't have Word, I've given a message on ThinkWave for some other options to choose. I don't do Google Documents. You cannot upload a Google document for me. It has to be an actual file, okay? But if you will just follow the instructions of each day, you will know exactly what to do, okay? Now, it's always a little confusing at first because this is very different than what you've probably done before, so I don't mind y'all emailing me, texting me, whatever, if you need help. Yes, Youssef.
Instead of Word, can we use like Pages or Google Docs or something like that? Because
you can't use Google Doc because that is not an actual document. It's just a link. You have to actually upload a file, and Pages is Apple, and I can't open those, but I have given you on ThinkWave, I've given you some other options of, there's Apache Open Office, and then there's also another one. I'll have to find out what that is.
Microsoft Word works, right?
What?
Microsoft Word works, correct?
Yes, Microsoft Word, Apache Open Office, and somebody told me about a different one. Apache's free and it works just like Word. And there's another one. I can't open Apple documents, but you can actually resave it as a Word doc. I think, Yusef, you can check on that and see, because some people have done it that way. You'll have to look on your computer and see if you can do that, okay? But if you have any problems, get in touch with me. I've seen and heard everything, and I know how to help you. The main thing is you must read and follow the directions. I teach writing, but the main thing I teach is how to follow directions, okay? I don't know what WPS office is. What is that? Who asked that?
Mia.
Oh, Mia. Mia, I don't know what WPS office is. So, well, as long as I can open it with my Word program, that'll work. But you might want to send me a document and make sure that I can open it first. You will be uploading your homework to ThinkWave, and I have an email, I have a message on ThinkWave that talks about uploading your homework. Okay, I want everybody to listen to this. You will have one PDF that has all of your keyword outlines and your 2 rough drafts for snowmobile and for brave dogs. One PDF. I don't want multiple PDF files of each individual document because I have to open all those and look at them. And if I have to open 16 different documents to look at your homework, that just does not work for me. One PDF, and if you need a scanner, you can get that on your smartphone. There's an app called Cam Scanner, okay? But I can help y'all with this. Just don't wait till the day of class, because if you do, I'm not going to be able to help you. I want homework uploaded before class starts, okay? Read through the whole homework assignment. Make sure you know what you're supposed to be doing, and then let me know what questions you have. We've covered a lot of ground today. Yes, Aiden.
So do we post like our homework daily for each homework that we have to do daily, or do we post it all at the end of the?
All at the end. Let me show you. I know we're a little bit over here. I'm sorry. I think we were just off to a little bit of a slow start. Let me show you an example. Hold on a minute and let me get it open, okay? Okay. I try not to run over, but since we got a little bit of a late start today with all of the technology issues. All right. So this is how ThinkWave looks. Let's see. I'm going to have to, there we go. All right. So let me find the first assignment from last year, and I can show you how it looks when you've uploaded everything correctly, okay? All right. Now these have graded on here. That means I came back and re-uploaded it, but you can see Curtis here has, oh, that's a grade sheet too. You won't have this on yours till after I grade your paper. Can y'all see where I'm highlighting that? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's where I've graded Curtis's work and reposted it. And this is, I've graded his grade sheet and reposted it. So this is what Curtis uploaded. Curtis uploaded his final document, which has brave dogs in it, and he uploaded his keyword outline and rough draft PDF. Now I'm gonna open this, and then I'll have to stop share and reopen it for you. So let's see, because you won't be able to see it. Hold on just a minute.
You can do share desktop, and then it will share everything.
Will it?
It should.
Okay, because I've had trouble switching back and forth between, say, PDFs and Word, but I'll try that. Thank you for giving me that. Okay, so this is Curtis's PDF, and you can see that all of his keyword outlines for this whole assignment number 1 are all in one PDF, okay?
Handwritten?
I prefer people to handwrite their keyword outlines because you just don't have as many options when you're trying to type it, okay? You can handwrite or type your rough draft, but if you do type your rough draft, instead of writing it out by hand, you need to do what Curtis did here and print it out and take it to your editor, and your editor needs to actually mark it, okay? You see all of the corrections that she made? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then all these keyword outlines go in one PDF. And there's the composition checklist where his editor signed that she heard the oral reports. Okay. This is the only one like this where your editor will actually have to sign. And then Curtis also uploaded his final draft, and let me show you that. Well, let me close this one out.
There, it's on now.
Okay, so there's Curtis's Brave Dogs paragraph. Nice MLA formatting. And there is his Shooting Stars. Somehow his name got, oh, well, it migrated up the page. That can be fixed with page breaks, but don't worry about that. Okay, so he's uploaded his PDF and he uploaded his Word document. One PDF with everything, one Word document with everything. That way I only have to open up 2 files for every student, which when we're talking about, I don't know how many online students I have this year. I have a bunch. So if I have to open up multiple files for every student, it ends up being a nightmare. All right. So I know it seems a little bit confusing, you guys, but in a couple of weeks, a couple of classes, this will all be old hat. Okay. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, what should you do?
Email you.
Email me.
Email, call, text.
Right. I love to get text if it's not a really long question. If it is a really long question, then you can email me. And I have some of your cell phone numbers already. Some of them I don't. So make sure if you text me that you tell me who you are. Okay? All right. Any questions for now?
No.
Y'all have been great. Thank you for all the participation. I hate to be the only one ever saying anything. It's really boring for me just to talk and talk and talk and talk and for nobody else to talk. So I'm looking forward to a lot of talking this year. And I do appreciate everybody chiming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And let me know. I don't want anybody to suffer in silence, okay?
Hey, Miss Kimbrough,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do with this keyword outline that we just wrote during class?
You can just leave it. Just leave it in your notebook.
Okay.
It's just a practice.
Clear it out and just put it with your papers or something. Yeah, you won't be turning that in, but okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Y'all are great.